Spill the tea, Hunty!
Hi, I'm Siobhan.
Hi, I'm Fauzi.
I'm Nick.
Hi, I'm Leah, and this is
ZULA ChickChats!
So today we're going to be talking about looks and whether it gets you further in your career or in life in general. So for you guys, how important are looks to you?
Okay, I can say like last time when I was a kid, right? I honestly couldn't be bothered. I was like that kid that wore like oversized t-shirts.
Why is it in trend now?
No, because... No! I wore it because you know why? Save money. Can wear longer. Because it will go bigger. Last time I thought my nose was too big, but then I love my nose now, yeah.
Your nose is not bad. I care quite a lot about how I look.
Okay.
I'm quite vain.
Like how he chose to sit at a particular...
My left side is better, so
He runs to sit at this spot. And every time someone thinks he's like, oh, why I cannot sit that
It's true.
way?
Because when we went to secondary school, I felt I was even more vain. But because I was in a boys' school, so opportunities to impress girls were like this.
Only in university when I started pursuing theatre, then I realised actually I need to look certain way lah, a presentable way. So I got LASIK done. So I don't have to wear glasses anymore. I really wanted to pursue a career in theatre, and of course glasses were not convenient. So in a way it was a little bit career related of choice in terms of like the vanity.
I grew up in a family where looks was very heavily emphasized. My mom always say like, if she look in the mirror, she's like, oh my god, no lipstick, so 丑容啊, like so ugly.
So it's 丑容.
It's like as a sign of respect also.
Right,
like she doesn't look like 很多 she say lah. I grew up kind of like a tomboy because I'm very close to my brother. So I would skate. I had 4 cm hair.
What? No! I cannot imagine.
I still gels, yeah, got spiky. Yeah, so I didn't really care, didn't give a shit. But until when I was in secondary school, then I started to like grow long hair. Because I have 2 sisters and 1 brother, so I kind of like, you know, follow them also. Like when they start to get more vain, I still got more vain.
I think for me, only the looks part of it only came into play about in secondary school. Dressing up well is something that I place a high value on at that point in time. Like you don't need to be like so handsome or like what like very pretty or anything. As long as you look presentable, which is what I think everybody agrees on. Do you guys think you are good looking?
Let me just say, I start average.
I just say slightly above average as compared to like Singaporeans. I'm not saying it's because I'm born like prettier than them, but because I really put a lot of effort lah.
Right. How good looking do you think you are, Nicholas?
I think like Siobhan, I think I'm slightly above average. But I also put in quite a lot of effort. But there are also things that I would like to improve about myself.
Trying to save your ass, eh?
No, really,
like
really, like there are a lot of things that I'm insecure about. So
I think that's a lot of people lah. Actually, for me, I just think I'm average. Like
there's actually like tiers to when I look good. Basically, going across the road just to buy groceries.
Oh my god,
that is the lowest level.
Yeah.
That is me with some shorts, raggedy old t-shirt, and just like nothing on my face, just walking down, never even comb my hair, just go to buy groceries.
Okay, when did someone come to you?
It has happened. It has happened. Someone asked me for a photo. I'm like, okay.
So the reason why I asked you guys to rate yourself in terms of your looks, right, is because it's actually proven that people who are more good looking get 3 or 4% higher pay than other people who are less good looking at them. We want to discuss maybe industries that are not pertaining to your looks, so like industries that are not modeling or something that require looks to be a selling point, right? And you actually require talent, whether it's true. Have you had any experiences, you know, with your looks like helping you get bigger opportunities or actually hindering you in getting opportunities?
I was thinking actually, very interestingly, right, about people who do, like, not hosting for camera or for video, but hosting for events. Actually, right, to be functional in that job, right, you don't have to be good looking. You just need to be someone who can speak well and engage people, right?
If you're trying to match the audience, then that's fine. If someone is good looking and has the followers and all these kind of like extra factors, right, it kind of takes away like the talent or like the job from someone who's equally as talented as you.
I feel that for guys, it's less important as compared to girls.
Okay.
Like for guys, if you're either very charismatic or you're very funny, you know, most of the time that looks won't really matter as much as if you're a girl.
Like a girl is pretty, right? People don't take her seriously in
Oh,
terms of her capabilities as well. Like her looks overshadow her ability to like work. But at the same time, it happens to guys also sometimes. Like, or there have been people who thought that I was super hippo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so they don't think you're good looking lah.
No, Like,
For you, like Nick, if you do like DJing, right?
okay, so radio, like, you know, there's like this term, you have a face for radio.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is not a compliment, by the way.
It's
like,
awful,
because
yeah.
people say that, like, you know, you don't have to be good looking to be on radio, right?
Right.
But nowadays, it's not true, no? But if you look at some of the male radio DJs, and then if you look at some of the female radio DJs, you'll see a pattern.
Okay, I was in the marketing industry, marketing slash PR. In one of the companies that I work in, right, it was very clear that they only hire girls and you must be at least presentable slash good looking.
So you got the job lah.
Yes, I got the job. I wouldn't say that you have to 100% be like completely like pretty or handsome in order to like really land the job. But it really helps you a lot. In business, right, it's about network and relationships. And this is just how the world works. But then it's just like a ticket for you to get the job. But if you want to get a promotion, it also depends on your skills.
I think that if you have the skills, definitely someone is gonna hire you. Or you know, you're gonna go further than someone who doesn't have the skills but it's like super pretty.
Yeah.
I think the ticket to getting a job is really one thing, because once you get in there, you can totally learn everything you want to learn. You know what I mean? As versus someone who didn't even get the opportunity to learn.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
It's just basically hard to be a human being. Lah.
It really is.
Agree.
Yeah, the best is to be like average at everything and have no hopes and aspirations.
Oh my god! Okay.
Does the stigma of being good looking getting you further in your career actually depend on the industry that you're working in?
Right.
For example, so media, like, you know, being on cam, hosting something like that, right? Is it something different from, example, being in engineering?
It's an added perk lah, because
Yeah,
I think you never know where your opportunities will come from, and
True.
it might be from having good looks, or it might be from some other quality that you possess. So, like, you know that math teacher who
Yes. Pietro
Yeah.
Gosselli.
yeah, so
Obsessed.
Obsessed. He's
Math
always
teacher.
in little clothes.
so like you can be a math teacher, and then because you're good looking, then suddenly you are a model.
No, but you know, no, the thing is that I would take, like, you know, NUS got bid points, right? I would take all my bid points just to bid for his module.
Yeah.
If he ever had a
I mean,
module.
because nowadays, right, social media is such a thing.
It's all about looks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So all these things basically, right, their careers like accelerated.
It makes a difference in the most unexpected way.
Yeah, I
For
guess.
certain people, this happens to like the 1% of like the
Yeah.
population, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, have you guys ever encountered a situation where you looked at someone, you wanted to hire them, you know, give them an opportunity because they are good looking?
Okay, if someone better looking in the interview, you just immediately think that, for example, in the media industry, it's like, okay, this person cannot just maybe write, it can only model. Being born good looking is like a talent slash skill alone.
Right.
Yeah, but think about it like, okay, if you're in a group interview,
Yes.
you know you're always in group interviews for people.
Yeah.
Like when you go to apply for a
Like,
job, right?
Or when you go to be a flight attendant.
Yeah, you know, so they scan the entire
Yeah.
room. Then obviously you're drawn to someone who's attractive to you, right?
Right.
And they're naturally more good looking or whatever it is.
Shit.
Do you think you convince yourself in your head that he's better than someone else next to him because he's good looking?
Yeah, I think so. I
It's
think
possible, you know.
I think it's very subconscious.
It's scientifically proven.
I think that makes sense, but at
Yeah.
the same time, right, if like in a group interview setting, right,
Yeah.
I will expect more from that person,
Right,
because I
yeah.
notice that more, right? So if you say something
Right.
stupid, if you say
Yeah,
something
like,
stupid, it
yeah.
sounds exceptionally stupid.
Yes, oh my god, it's like, oh my god, this himbo.
Yeah, exactly.
So how do you think this idea of being good looking has affected the way you look at yourself?
As much as I have my own insecurities, I learned to appreciate that I am very different from other people.
Right.
And maybe like own that shit, you know?
Yes, girl, work it.
Yeah! There is at least one person in that world, right, who will appreciate who you
Yeah.
are. And don't ever discount that.
Like, as a girl who started blogging many years ago, looks was always heavily emphasized because, for example, all the comments, everything is always about the way you look. Yeah, I felt that the more I got stuck into this whole social media thing, right, the more I was so like insecure because I chose to focus more on my career, and I think that choice made me a lot happier.
But if anybody doesn't know, Siobhan is a very hard worker and Zula.
Oh my god, stop it!
No,
Don't
really,
put it
really.
in.
It's a good thing, you know. It's in like you don't just rely on your looks.
Yeah.
Because you can't beat beauty, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Whether or not you care about your looks or you don't, my advice is, you know what? You do you.
Every episode about it, you
You
do
do you.
That is my
Alright.
phrase.
So today we talked about whether good looks affect your career progression and whether it opens up new career opportunities. And I think the general consensus is that while it might open some opportunities, it's still up to you to really follow through and take full advantage of those opportunities.
So let us know if you have any of these experiences and you want to share in the comments, and also let us know what else you want to talk about next time.
And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Bye!